Hey guys, can you guys hear me? Tiny group. So we'll let you guys know that Sendine Spaces has given us free Wi-Fi. So if you guys are needing in Wi-Fi, you don't already have it, you'll find a Wi-Fi hotspot here called Spaces Guest. I know you can see Sendine, that's people upstairs. This is Sendine Spaces, and we'll talk about them in a minute when we talk about our sponsors. So their Wi-Fi, you choose Spaces Guest. You choose the username co-working. The password is cowork, singular, cowork 0601, like June 01. That changes often, so if you guys had it before and then you didn't work out, you'll see that. So everybody that needed got it. Anybody not needed? So guys, so we're going to start .NET. I have a couple of jokes for you guys, and I'll introduce our sponsors and let you guys know who we are. First of all, of course, you don't know it already if it's the first time you're here. FLA.net has been around since 2001 when our first presentation was around. I, of course, was not there. As you can see, I'm a young guy. Not really. I just didn't know about it, so I was in the state, but I didn't know about it. I'm bringing it a little bit more formal, so usually it's more relaxed and all that, so I'm trying to get new speakers. Now, unfortunately today, my speaker bailed out on us last minute. He had a family emergency, so my apologies, guys. You guys saw the update on the news. I didn't want to throw away the information, so I got as much as I could from him just before he had to actually go. He's not in the state. So Joe's not going to be here today. That would have been an amazing presentation. Joe is an amazing presenter, and he's the master of these things. So if I do stumble upon this, these are his slides. I'm going to show you guys all the information I found out about this, and I think you guys will be blown away. You do have some questions that you can stump me with. That's not going to be unusual. Usually if I'm here presenting, it's exactly what I know and why I'm presenting it to you guys. But this gives you an idea that maybe if you guys are trying something new, something you're excited about, that you want to show us, come and present. No one's going to talk bad about them, and you'll see if anybody talks bad on me, I'll be like Trump and, get him fired. No, sorry. I'll be like, I'll let you guys talk, and then we'll have a casual discussion. We're a small enough group that we can see what's going on. So let me before we get into too much more details, I think we can all relax about it. Why do Microsoft programmers wear glasses? Of course, you guys will know this because you can't see very sharp, right? See sharp. All right. Why are programmers like Dorothy of Wizard of Oz? I think that English is my second language. This is what I thought. Everybody loves this particular character, Dorothy of Oz, because it's Toto. Maybe it's Tudu. All right, thank you. I'll be here all week. What restaurants do programmers, this is for the old-fashioned people of you guys, been around here for a while, what do programmers really don't like? What restaurants do people never want to eat at? Vim, you can never escape it. Get it? How do you know a programmer is really ancient? Because their editor of choice is with Roman letters, like VI, right? All right. What's ancient Chinese proverb? I can say this, my best friend and my brother-in-law is Chinese, so a programmer without a project manager is like a fish without a bicycle. It just hits you hard that way. What's your favorite, what's an Indian's favorite programmer data type? And my favorite data type? None. Not a number. It doesn't say not a number, it says none. So as you guys know, I'm Joe Rayo. Sorry, that's Joe Rayo, that's his kid. He used to be a rock star in the past. Sorry. I'm Damian Montero. That's my kid. I used to be a lawnmower man in the past. Lawnmower man, like the movie. Guys, before we go on an agenda, whoa, I went a little bit too fast. I want to let you guys know that we're here because of some great sponsors. So you guys see the snacks, you guys got the drinks. Anybody not get a drink? You can hold up your drink, tell me if you didn't. All right. Exactly. So the sponsors this month are CTI. Now, normally you guys know that the sponsors are people that just sort of decide and say, hey, here's a bunch of money, go for it. These guys were with me for the last 4 jobs. The last 4 jobs I got through this gentleman and this company. So that's why they're here, because they're amazing. So guys, I wasn't prepared. So we have, who's going to talk?
That's it?
Yeah, you tell us about it.
Okay, did you guys all get your complimentary tequila shots?
Oh, you didn't?
Oh,
Yeah. Too late now.
Forgot. No, we didn't pay enough. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thank you, Damian. Thanks for having us. We're very pleased to be the sponsors for tonight. We are CTI Consulting, as Damian mentioned. We specialize in IT staffing solutions, and right now we're working on a lot of front-end development positions. We're working some full-stack development positions. We have PHP, we have Magento, we have Java for Mendy. Mendy wants a Java person. Who wants to do Java? Wants a job? Take a job.
Oh, take a job. Huh?
Anyway, so that's what we do. In addition to that, we develop state-of-the-art custom development solutions, and we focus on .NET and mobile. We build our mobile solutions using Xamarin. As you know, Xamarin was just bought out by Microsoft about, early this year,
yep.
I believe.
That's it.
And we build native applications, mobile applications with the Xamarin. We're actually also very pleased to be a partner with Xamarin, a worldwide premier partner with Xamarin. That's what we do, basically. That's it in a nutshell. I'm going to turn you over to Mendy, see if she has anything to add. Thanks again for joining us.
He's like walking away. Can you guys hear me? He's like walking away. So there's not really much for me to say other than, yeah, I am working on a Java position. I have UX design positions that I'm working on, business analyst. So I did pass out a few of my cards. And guys, don't worry, even if you're not on the market anymore, I'm sure you know someone. So please feel free to be a referral. We do have an awesome referral bonus program over at CTI. So even if you refer someone and they are placed, we actually offer a bonus. So sometimes it's a win-win situation for both the candidate and the person who referred them. So please, again, remember us over at CTI, your friends, and send me your resumes. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. All right, we'll leave that microphone later for you guys to ask questions. Or if you have none, then that's fine too. If you have not a number, then that's fine too. All right, so let's get right to it. You saw my joke, full of jokes today, full of jokes, but this is no joke. Well, this kind. So Azure Functions, how many of you guys have heard of serverless and more or less, thank you, I appreciate that, and more or less understand the basics of it. So we're going to go a little bit through this as part of the slides, so I can't skip ahead if most of you guys know about it. But you guys might think about it, there might be something that's unique about it. So before we continue into how Azure Functions goes into it, it's what is serverless and what's going on with it, okay? So,
like in AWS, it's a Lambda function.
So Lambda function is one of the competitors, and we'll talk about them, that do that. That is serverless. So the serverless, the name serverless was started by a small team, and they have a whole product about it, and their product's backend is AWS, Lambda, and other and S3 and other solutions with that. But it's not owned by Amazon. Like the cloud wasn't ever created by them, and they were just sort of first in line for it. There are other things about it, but just give you an idea. Joe's definition of it is serverless is to servers as wireless is to wired. In other words, when you have a wireless phone, there's still wires, you just don't know that they're there, right? So you don't know how it's connecting, but somehow your telephone calls are connecting to the other side of the world. So I don't know if that helps, but that's what's going on. He wanted me to explain that, if we think about it like we used to, so some of you guys are a little bit too young to remember this, but we used to think of, we had to put the server and the software, and our software went on that server that was down in the closet usually, or some fancy server room. We might have to drive there, but usually it was ours. Then eventually it was, we had virtual machines somewhere else. You have physical machines, I remember Rackspace and a physical machine. They just happen to be hosted by somebody else, so they might update the operating system, they might operate, but it's us. So we have to set up the web server, we have to set up anything we don't have to do about it. So a new technology comes around, forget about it. Then there was a lot of other services that were VM and Docker, and so it's getting closer to this sort of hands-on. What we do goes up there exactly as we build it, as the Docker promise, And when it comes up there, there isn't anything that we have to do if it ever grows and gets bigger or shrinks down. And that's the promise of serverless. There are some things about it, so there's no servers, as I talked about. It's event-driven, so this connects to the next thing, which is also billing, micro-billing. In other words, your only cost is when it's being used. And that should be pretty good, right? Because if we're getting a lot of traffic for one day and we're not getting anything out of it, that's not the fault of our program or the use of it. It's the fault of whatever the business model that we have is, right? So if your ad goes on the Super Bowl and your website doesn't go down, but doesn't make you the money that the ad cost you, that's not the website's problem, right? It's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be scalable. You get 1,000 customers, you're supposed to make 1,000 times more money than you get 2 customers, right? Or 1 customer. So that's really the promise about it as well. You can go faster to the market, and there's more business focus, and that's a lead into what they mean by that. And now let's go into that. It's a little bit convoluted, so I'll kind of skip into it. You still get all the benefits you're used to. You still develop on your IDE. You don't have to develop on some third party, although I will be showing you guys how to develop on the Azure portal itself without any IDE. In fact, on purpose, because people seem to always confuse when I present from a Mac or when I present from a Windows. They'd be like, yeah, but does that work? Oh, I heard that Amazon is for Mac, so I heard that Google is for Windows. So I present on a Chromebook on purpose. Okay, it's a developer Chromebook. It has a bunch of things on it, but you can do this on any platform if it has a keyboard and a screen. Even if you can detach the screen and now the computer doesn't have a keyboard, that's a laptop, you can use it. All right, so reiterating what I kind of said, servers, no servers. If you guys remember this, you'll appreciate this. There's not even a VM to spin up. So if there's a new instance you need to do, if you need to have double the space, if your server's just not handling, even when we had VMs, you still have to spin up a new VM. Even if it's a copy of the old VM, we still have that problems. Not anymore, it's automatically scaling. All right, so yeah, this is a little bit advanced, but there are multiple ways that these events can happen, and most of the time people will connect, and you might connect it in your mind right now, serverless with API. It's an API, it's a back end, it's something I hit from my mobile site. What's the difference? And we'll go into what the difference is specifically. Again, reduce cost. Okay, so like we talked about here, so the one thing people think about maybe when they think of serverless, because the technology, the small team that created this initially used is these Lambda expressions. Of course, I don't know if you know this, Lambda was after Azure Functions. But regardless of that, people think of that, and they tell you, no, but you have all these access to the back end, you have all this access to storage, you have all this access to the language, including .NET. Awesome. So does Google. They have the exact same thing, including the fact that it's not on this slide, because I don't think Joe knew about it, but they also have C# included. So if you guys hear a particular, what is that, podcast? Anyways, I'll mention it later, but there's a particular podcast that talks about it in their ad right now as Google's trying to get into the cloud market. They want to remind everybody C# is on the Google Cloud. So this, as their answer, is in there. But perhaps not in the function side, but Google Code in the cloud does perform in Azure. All right, this is absolutely tiny. Looked fine when I was going through it, but the idea would be that when you think, this shouldn't be here, when you think of Azure, you should think of, you've heard this before, it does one thing. And I think I have a better description than it does one thing. It should be atomic. It should be self-reliant, and it shouldn't depend on anything else. Now, it can depend on a database being there, but it shouldn't depend on other services. It can connect to something else, but it should be able to connect as many times without it being bogged down. It should be able to attack itself a million times. And I'm going to show you guys a demo that Joe did, which essentially proves this. He's going to do something I would have normally done with the WebSockets to get that instant notification, but I would have done it all in memory, and he does it all these storages, and you see how much traffic you guys all, small team, but you guys will all be able to hit this website with, and at no time will it care. Because it's going to queue things, because it's going to not care about it, because it's atomic. So essentially, the same thing with all these services, but Azure Functions works the following way. There's a better screen on this. What starts it? Because remember, these things are dead to the world, instantly alive, do their job, and go die again. But they can be scheduled. So unlike what you would think of an API, this can happen at 3 o'clock in the morning or every 10 minutes. So what you have running right now as a cron job or something in the Windows scheduler can be run on Azure by itself, and it can hit your server. So if you want it to initiate something, it can do that, right? You just have to wait for it to do that. Again, you can do things with REST. You can do things officially with webhooks. And one of the examples I wanted to show you guys was something what I did with Twitter. I didn't have a time to finish it, and Joe's example shows it a little bit better, not Twitter, so I will use his example. What I wanted to do is each time you guys tweet a particular group, unlimited, if the whole world tweets, Twitter's not going to go down, really, kind of. They're not going to go down, and I'm not going to go down, because everything's atomic. Everything doesn't care about itself. So it just scales up, scales down automatically. So Blob Storage, you can actually have, if something happens, if you get too much space, if a particular event happens in your blob storage, a new insert, a new delete, a new request for access, you can have one of these functions just start up, do something quick, and go down. You can have things in a particular event from the events hub, so anything that IoT-wise you send to the event hubs, it can then look and use something about it. Any of you guys were here for the, I think, 2 presentations ago where Microsoft presented their Costa Farm implementation? You were there. Exactly. Thank you, sir. And so that event was with Azure Hubs, with IoT, and they went ahead and used functions for that. Queues, similar to what you're going to see right now, you can actually, you're going to be able to vote, and it's kind of a tug of war, giving it away already. But when you guys will see it, you'll see that it's not instant, that it is queued, and will never go down. Things they can do afterwards, of course, is do things with the rest of the world. They can output to Twilio, it can output to send an email, they can, of course, insert to databases, pick up from databases, respond with something in database. And none of the examples will show you it is, but there's a million examples out there that can do that. Okay? Do you have any pause? Is there any questions you have that there's something I said already, or something you think I haven't talked about, or you want to comment on? We have a small enough group that if you guys have something, interrupt. Just lift up your hand or start talking. Great question. So what's the difference between this and the Docker container? So in a Docker container, it can be used, and there's a lot of sort of incentive or ways that you would use a Docker container in this fashion, right? Where the API is separate from the database and separate from anything else and only does API things, and it relies on the database. So it's very similar to this idea. The idea behind this, and there's ways to do this with Docker, is that it is even one level deeper. So with an outside server, you don't care about the server. Hardware goes down, the CPU dies, they replace the CPU. If it's a VM, you don't even have to worry about the server. If there's more memory, you just switch and you have more memory, you go down. So you're getting more abstraction. Eventually, you get your app working on an Azure or an AWS S3. Your app lives there, so you don't even know that there's a web server. You know that the people are hitting your websites. You continue down the line, and you get to a point in Docker where it's supposed to be that the web server exists, you're in control of the web server, but you don't have to worry about how many instances of the web servers it is, and that there's API and a web server database that you don't care about. You connect to them, but you don't look at them, you don't care about them. This goes one step beyond. So this only cares about the functionality and nothing else. You don't even care that it's on a web server, and you don't even care how many instances of you there are, and you don't even care on which servers there are. Does that answer your question? So a container, remember, a container can contain, ideally, a container can contain everything your VM did, right? It can be an exact copy of VM. And the benefits, there's big benefits in there. If you want to do it in the proper way, so Kubernetes and all the type of services can really achieve their goal, you have to now start separating the database from the web server, from the app server, from the API. So let's talk about just the API. Now the API lives on itself, but it does care that other things are there. It can care about how many instances. And with Kubernetes, it's able to replicate itself very well, but it's replicating that whole event. This goes even further to one level of that API, one particular call. It doesn't have to be this way, but one particular endpoint of your API could now be separated and by itself could live on. So the benefits of having 10 web servers, but one database server, one API server, because that's the traffic you need for those 2 machines, but the 10 web servers answering a lot of static web pages is crucial because you've already lowered your cost because it's not 30 machines, 10, 10, and 10. It's only 10 of what you really need and one of the other 2. So think even further. Now grab all the things your API server and start saying that most of the calls are this function. So why am I paying for the Docker instance that runs all the other functions? It's a VM, so it's not really using that much memory, but there's still in memory. And the moment that Kubernetes makes another instance of that Docker container, it makes a whole copy of the same thing. So we're going back to the same thing. We're getting closer and closer and closer to the venture and all that. So next year, you guys are going to see my latest technology, which is separation of all the variables. No, just kidding. That's it stops at functions, hopefully. Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Does that answer your question? Okay. So the basics of serverless, any serverless, Windows functions, Azure, AWS Lambda, Google functions. There's a trigger of any kind of kind. It can be most likely webhook, most likely URL. It can be other things. It can be an event. You bind to that input, you develop, you execute, and the output comes out somewhere. It can hit another service, it can return back something from the database, et cetera, et cetera. Same example, every 50 minutes something happens, it cleans the database or it validates any data that's not there and then clears the database. That could be something you could set up. And you can think about it, it's atomic. It doesn't care that there's 30,000 events that happen or 2 events. It's just going to run every 50 minutes, cleaning things up. On a service, same thing, and you're going to see examples of this all the time. So, one particular, I don't know if you guys saw that, which computer am I in? You save the file, something happens, you save it up on Google Drive, or OneDrive or Microsoft Office, and the functions have the ability to, with webhooks, figure out that this is happening and do something about it. They might check for something, check if you left a key there or something that you shouldn't be doing there, checking a particular document was validly formatted. Particular lawyers, we have a particular customer that had a lot of law firm documents going up there, and they needed all to be signed. So the second they came up there, if they were not signed for whatever reason by the system, it would sign it afterwards. Okay, a page was loaded, webhooks got called, and then you go ahead and load. Thought I got rid of all these things. Okay. All right. Did I pick up the wrong presentations? All right. Let's go a little bit further with this. Okay. So, let me just skip this one. Sorry, guys. All right. So, this is what you've seen before. Functions should do one thing. All this to do with anything serverless. They should be atomic. That's my better way of describing it. They should be able to finish as quickly as possible. They should be stateless. They shouldn't care about other things, and they shouldn't be returned with something else. I mean, stateless does mean that you can communicate the next state and say, now do step number 2 because you're ready, but they shouldn't really understand that they already processed this and they have to go to step number 2 for this. Should be communicating that. That goes with something being as quickly as possible.
Go back.
Yes, sir.
That bottom building.
All right. Let's see it. Function should be. I don't know. You tell me. Independent.
Independent, maybe?
I don't know. Listen, this is directly from Microsoft. Between you and me, they make more money than you and me. So with with the way things are going nowadays, that's the new word. You just went back to just to show me the typo? Jesus.
No, I thought maybe it meant something.
I skipped it on purpose. No, I didn't even look at that. I didn't look at that. Oh, there you go. You know, my first language wasn't English, it was Spanish, but you have a lot better English than I do if you figure it out. Half the words out of here, I don't know. All right. Just in case you guys know, now it's Azure functions, right? It's a Microsoft product, so of course Visual Studio is ideal for this. Visual Studio Code works great for it. I use it. That's what you're going to see me using in a minute. But it's Visual Studio 2017, the professional edition, that has the best. They have tooling. They'll be able to integrate with it. You'll be able to debug. You can, of course, and you guys know this, you can debug directly on the server, you know what I mean, with a particular instance and stop the event happening on the server. Don't do it in production, obviously, guys, or else you're going to have a lot of pauses. All right, so we're going to show you this. The beauty of Azure Functions, I'm not sure if AWS does this or Google does this, is you can actually see the code, edit the code, and be live with it, and try it out. And we'll look at that together. So Visual Studio 2017, again, preview. I don't know if he means that the function tools are maybe already included. I'm not too sure about that. So all these links are already in the comments, including a video that you can see me on this other computer that are going to be up there live. All right, so again, this link has all, Azure Open Functions are open source, of course. By the way, like they present, have you seen when ASP.NET was open source? In June of 2000, as in, it's been a while, right? So they have all the stuff that Microsoft does, usually nowadays, is open source, including this. These two links at the very bottom, very, very, very important. Don't worry about thickness. Definitely write them down if you can. It's aka.ms/try-functions, so the capital T, capital F, I don't care. I don't think the shortener aka.ms has care of upper or lowercase. But if you go there, you'll be able to try it right now on your code. I put these comments as well on the meetup page, so make sure to check them out. You got it? Let's do this. Why don't you guys go on this on your phone or laptops in front of you? So it's aka, so go to the website, aka.ms/play tug of war, of course no space. aka.ms/play tug of war. Now let me refresh this page. So I have the back end, and it looks like this. So just go there. Actually, you might have to refresh the page. And before you guys do anything, here's how it works. You guys are team right. You guys are team left. So when you go there, I'm sorry, the other page that I showed you guys a minute ago. Oops. aka.ms/play tug of war. Works on your phone, works on your laptop. You'll see what's going on. You'll have to choose your team, and then you'll be able to tap. As you tap more often, it moves this little guy left and right. So let's try that as well. I'll try that as well with you guys. So are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? Do you guys see that says you choose your team left or right? Okay, perfect. You guys see that, right? ms/play tug. All one word, right? All no spaces. I made it in spaces so you guys can see it easy. Oh my God! I just realized. Oh, I didn't even. Oh, okay. Oh, did they win already? Oh man! All right. You guys are too fast. So this is a goofy event. You guys will see in the meetup page. Yeah, I think once you get to the left, it doesn't. Let's do that again. All right. So I'm going to go team blue, team red. Actually, because the button. Actually, I realized the buttons were probably going to make no sense. So you guys will have to do a little bit of intelligent magic. Some of you guys will be confused. because the green button is the blue side and the red button is the green side. I'm sorry, the other way around. So you guys can choose what's going on. And as you guys vote, you guys tap like crazy. To each time you tap, it counts, and each time anybody else taps, it also counts and all that. So you can see the tug of wars, and you should be able to see that the numbers updated. Now, he could have easily done this with WebSockets. I would have done this with WebSockets. It's not a proof of something amazing, but of course, what you can see is that even the small team that we have here, or 10 or 15 of us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, just plus the drunk guy. Okay, 13 guys, people. I got to count them too, right? It was very interactive. It was wonderful. So this would have been much better WebSockets, state-wise, something, but you guys can see that there was no way to break this down. The service number can go down. It's taking all of those requests. It's queuing them. It's taking care of it. And I want you guys to know that he has this up on GitHub. And I've put it in the meetup pages at the very bottom. And here is all the information you need. Here's the, so Joe Scars is the gentleman that would normally present it. And you see the whole presentation. You can see everything about it. All right. Guys, if you go to functions.azure.com, you'll get something like this. But if you do it on your own, Azure portal, before I tell you guys, I'm going to click on Dev Essentials. You guys know what Dev Essentials? It's linked in the meetup votes. So so I get, because I'm part of the MSEN, I get $250 for free on Azure, so I dump all my stuff in there regardless of any other choices. How many of you guys have free Azure because you steal it from your employer, or because your daddy paid it on his credit card? All right, I like that. So the ones you don't can go to Dev Essentials, and that's visualstudio.com/dev-essentials. I'll show you guys the link. You guys just look at the meetup page and see it there. And in there, you'll get $25 every single month for a year for free to use this. So you will never have a reason not to use it. You can try everything in Portal, they'll give it to you for free. And if you guys need more as a company, not me, I don't work for, I used to work for Microsoft, I don't work anymore. Joe, let Joe know, and he will let you know how to get what I was talking about, $250 a month, plus a bunch of other services. Okay? Yes, sir.
When you have that $25 a month, does it tell you how much you're actually using that month?
It not only does that, if you hit that $25 limit, you can make a choice of just cutting it off or continuing into your own credit card. So that might be if you want to present and you're close to that 5 minutes, you might want to fork it up because it's probably going to be a couple more dollars as your customer tries it as you go back and do something else. So you have the full choice. In the portal, you guys can see, I'm not going to go too much into it, but there is a section here, I remember what it was, that tells me the billing. Didn't mean to click on that. And it'll tell me how much I'm paying. Wow, do I have a slow internet or what? Anyways, you have these options where you can see how much you paid. You can see when it believes you're going to hit that limit, and you can make a choice whether you can turn it off. You can set it automatically never bill you, and then all of a sudden, 3 o'clock in the morning, it shuts off, or 2 p.m., or as you're presenting it to your customer. Or you can say, I like the $25, and if it ever goes over, I don't mind paying $3 or $4, $10 to my credit card. And you can also set limits on there above it. So you can say, I only want to pay $10 more than $25. So once that limit's set, you can shut it off. All right, so let's go back to my functions. Once you do functions, it's very, very easy over here. You just go new. I'm not going to bother you by just looking for it over here, functions app. You get some basic questions. You click on create, where it is, how much you want to spend, how you want to spend it, if you have multiple accounts, what's going on. And then once you choose it, as you can see, I've been playing around with it because it's Damian function 3, right? Traditional developer. You're going to get a way that you can you guys kind of see that? All right, sir. You see, I think it's still loading up, so let me see if it lets me. All right. Is that better? Yeah. Okay. So, what's going on? Oh, okay. Click on plus. Same thing. Now, if you guys go, what was it? Portal.azure.com, portal.azure. Look for it in the meetup page, /try functions. You get a page that looks like this. That's what I mentioned over here. Okay, and you get the same idea. You can go ahead and click on that one automatically created function for you over here. So let's look at it over here. It's the same as the portal. Here you can see you can actually change and play around with it. Now in the try, of course, you don't have a managed backend. You don't have a way to do your own backend. But in your own portal with those $25 or with your own account, you do have a way to do a backend by yourself. And you have over here a button that says run. And if it looks like traditional, you guys ever heard of Postman? So Postman is the way you test your APIs. It appears over here, so bear with me. Hello. So here, what I would do is I would say what kind of request I'm going to get, get, post, update. I'm going to put the URL there and put the headers there. I'm going to put the request information. I'm going to click on send. I'm going to see the response. Okay? So that is C#, yes. This? It is C#, yes. You not see it? Whoa! Say it again. So Azure is essentially a VM somewhere else, and it's compiling it. Absolutely. When you click on, you have to click on save, and all of a sudden, right the moment you click on save, it's saving it, compiling it, and it's available. So you can test it right now, or on the right-hand side, as you can see, I can actually click on run. By the way, over here, it says get URL. Click on it. That's a URL you can hit. Okay? In the try one, it'll be some random one. In the portal, will be the one that you chose with all the information. And you can test it out there. You can test what's going on, what information you want to send to it, what query you want to send to it, and it's going to return what it's going to return. Then what it's going to return over here. So you can define the test and the query. So essentially, what I was trying to point out, it's similar if you guys have ever used Postman, which is a way that front-end developers can, like myself, can test back-end systems. Right? So you have to learn. Postman. Very important. I've done other presentations. If you guys want to know, just contact me about how I'm a backend and front-end developer, but the backend people weren't ready, so I quickly knocked out a fake backend, and I used this to test my fake backend to make sure everything worked out, and then I could code myself. So when the backend is ready and you want to test it because your front end is not ready, you use things like Postman. And these built-in functions, again, this is not a function thing. It just happens that in here it is. So here I'm going to choose, sorry, let me go back. Again, triggers, webhooks or API calls, REST calls, timers every 15 minutes, every 3 days, every 15,000 years. Data processing, whenever this database gets updated, whenever this blog gets a new entry. And down here, for now, it's the languages, C#, JavaScript, and F#. And I have a feeling that they have a lot more. They're just not showing them to us there. So if I click on continue, you're going to get something very similar to what you can do over here and try. And the difference will be my URL. So I'm going to click here on the URL, and it's, hello. It's Damian function 3.azureservices.net. It'll be, if it was my URL, if I had set it up as my URL, api.ourdomainname.com, it would show up as that as well. Any questions here? Okay. So again, links, I'll be showing you the links. Let's see. All right. So the links are on the meetup page, but just in case you guys didn't see it, the GitHub of what we played around, the tug of war you guys want to see is github.com/Joe Scars. That's Joe, the gentleman that was going to present. His URL /tug-of-war-C#. Now, you'll see both links in the meetup, which is the location where he has a lot of documentation, where you can try the demo, and also this one where he's grabbed, originally the demo was made for another meetup I run called Bucket.js. So that demo was in Node. So this one, he rewrote everything in C#. A piece of cake, he says, because there's just, all the backend is designed, all this architecture is designed, it's just a matter of rewriting code, right? And they're very similar in manner. So, but his code is all C# in that version. 25 years, $25 per month, every single month for a year from visualstudio.com/devessentials. And I think what they do is, on top of $25, I think what they do now, which they should have done always done, is they give you they give you the $300. They just give it to you, and then you can use it all in 1 month. In which case, you don't have $25 a month to get it, spread it out. So I think that's how they changed it. So that's a little bit better. So if you need something that you need $50 a month, and you don't want to take it out of your credit cards, I think they've heard from you and they've changed it up. That's it, guys. I have nothing else to present. I'm sure if, but I do want to hear questions. Yes, sir. Service framework. Now, there is the event hub. It's not related to service framework, but you can use it from there because you have a URL, service worker can start something from there. So it's not really related to that. It's still by itself. You would have to hit the same URLs you would do from your Postman or from your JavaScript client and your phone client. Yep. Yep. Right. Yeah, I mean, and this one will probably do too, even if you start using Node, which is the one that all three of the platforms, Google, Amazon, and Azure do. But once you start accessing the backend database, unless you have it go, nice pogos, something in the middle, nice DAO, I guess, something in the middle that obfuscates the data access. Unless you do that, then you're kind of stuck. So at this moment, I'm wrong. I think, like I said, I think C# is everywhere, but I know Node is everywhere. So he wrote that Node was the only one in Google, as you saw, but C# is in obviously Microsoft. It's in AWS, and I want to say it's in Google, even though he wrote it wasn't. So that's what I would say. You would have to choose a platform that you can move around, so you could get the best of both worlds, or even better, you could have 3 redundant versions of the same app running on 3 different servers, so that at no time can you service everything, right? Because not only could there be a bomb take out West Azure, you have West Amazon right next to it, and West Google right next to it, and, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, they're usually. All right. Well, I'm no Microsoft guy, but I can tell you that their Microsoft on location on-premise services would answer that. So Azure on-premise is essentially all its Amazon services exactly as they are on this cloud, but also with a copy local. So you could have essentially one more service center, which is your local desktop. Not really your local, let's just say a nice rack that's sitting here in Boca. So it's just one of the many, and one through IP and DNS geofencing, sorry, you know what I mean. Figuring out if you're in Boca, they point to the server side that's right here in Sendine Spaces. Okay, I forgot to tell you guys, Sendine Spaces has co-working space, and if you put in your business card there, they'll give you a week free of co-working space. So if you're just working out of your Starbucks or something like that, or you're just looking for something, they'll give you a free week. So, and presentation. But to answer your question, for that, I think Amazon's I think Azure has more certifications for security and other things, government certifications mainly, more than anything else, especially for banks. And they have more locations than Amazon and Google combined. Not for their services, for the AWS and the Google Cloud services, you know what I mean? So you have a great solution in being able to spread to multiple people, right? So Amazon announced they were in India finally. Well, Azure has been in India for 2 years, right? So if you have a bank in India, right? And, always, always, you know that. Yes. Yeah, well, it's always going to be either Mumbai or Hyderabad, right? I mean, that's the two tech system, the two, which one? In Bangalore, yes. That there has to be choice, but with the Azure on-premise, and I'm sure Google and Amazon, and you could develop something that could be on-premise. You could solve that issue for certain. Yeah. Absolutely. For that, you have the right solution. For your case, Docker is the solution. So you can go anywhere, including your own private cloud, and screw functions or screw other services over here. Yeah, for that situation. Any other comments or questions, guys? Guys, a lot more snacks. Recruiters are gone, so that's party. That's it. My pleasure. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am definitely not an expert at these things, but I do know a lot about Azure. I don't know that much about functions, but I do know serverless and Docker especially. For you, it's a definite solution, that one, and it's, I love Docker. I don't think, like I said, the only thing I can think about is when you're using something like DocumentDB, or so you have to rewrite your, again, DAO, right? The data access DAO file. So that would be the only thing that's stuck in the system, that's stuck in AWS because you're using S3, or which is the other one that they use. You're stuck with Amazon or Azure because you're using their version of DocumentDB and their amazing technology and all that. So that's the only time you're stuck. But you have the right answer. If you Dockerize everything, you're in control of everything, it can go everywhere you want, including, like you mentioned, your own private servers. This particular bank needs that. Fine. Guess what? You are not going to pay $50 a user for our system. You're going to pay $50 a user plus $10,000 a month for the server. Sorry. And it's sitting on your thing. And they're like, fine, that's fine. And that's the solution for them. Right? But I don't think there's much code that can't be portable. If the language exists in the other clouds, I'm pretty sure they can be portable. And if you put in a Docker, there's no language. It runs everywhere, so that's fine. So, yep. Right. So everything should be that's there should be connected. So yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? Right. Yes. But only if there's a central source of data where it's in the middle and there is connected to that, right? If the database and the API and the web server and everything is in the documents are in this cloud, and then an exact copy of over here, they don't have to talk. No, they don't even have to know about it, right? Your portal that says, okay, you're a customer, you got to go there. It has to know about it. That's it. If the technology is that your data is for the bank only, they don't have to share among the other banks. In your example, right? They might have to have a small amount, in which case, no matter what. You have a very good point. Very good point. But I think it's not always the case that there's an increase, right? Because if the traffic is within, I mean, you're going to have that if you're Azure and the database servers in the West Coast and the database server in the web servers in the East Coast. Now they're charging you the data. Yeah.
I just want to introduce myself. I'm Mark Bakunis.
Hi.
I work at Avanade. So I work on a team that all we do is Azure. So
Oh, you should have been up here talking.
I don't know anything about functions. That's why I wanted to come to